And today we're going to be talking about the cure to anxiety. And really this cure is to overwhelm, it's to fear, and it really applies to all these different areas. We're going to talk a little more about this. But first, we are going to be looking at the interview that I did with my friend Tim Collins. Now, Tim is another podcaster. He runs a podcast called the Anxiety Podcast. And as a coach, he helps people overcome anxiety on a daily and weekly basis. And so he is definitely more so the expert on the topic. And I love what he had to say in this clip. So without any more delays, take it over, Mr. Tim Collins.
That I don't think the concept of like curing anxiety is something we shouldn't aspire to, because it almost puts too much pressure on the process. It's like perfectionism is guaranteed to fail. So it's better to get it out there than to wait till it's perfect. That's what we talk about in business a lot, right? Because people wait till it's perfect and then they never do it. The best ideas never come out, or the companies never start. And so for me, when I talk to clients, I'm like, we're not trying to cure anxiety. As like humans, we are built with this primal kind of force inside us, which makes us anxious when we need to be on high alert for certain situations in our lives. When we have anxiety, it just means that is a little bit hypersensitized, and we're just we think everything's a threat, and then we get into the fear cycle. So, I said this the other day, and it kind of like, I said this to a client I was working with, and then I put it on one of my podcasts, but I actually hope that my anxiety never goes away. Because if I'm helping people with anxiety and I can feel it sometimes, then that is my connection to them. That's my connection to my audience. So without ever feeling anxious, I'd be like, what does it feel like? I've lost touch with it. So I put myself, Stephen Pressfield, The War of Art, talks about the resistance. So I put myself in the position of feeling the resistance. There you go. Good book. Good guy.
Yeah, great guy.
I put myself in the position of feeling the resistance. So I would say that my anxiety has gone from hypersensitized back to like now normal human being anxiety. We all have it. Some of us are brave enough to talk about it. Some people don't want to talk about it. But in terms of like cultivating confidence, how do you become more confident? Look at the things in your life which make you fearful. Look at the things in your life which make you feel anxious, and then do those things even though you might fail. Do them anyway. And the process of overcoming that and getting through it means that you start to cultivate confidence. I went to see Seth Godin recently, and he said reassurance is useless because there will never be enough of it. And so you could phone me up every day and be like, Tim, how do I look? I'd be like, you look amazing, Jay. I love your poofy hair. It looks awesome, man. And then 2 hours later, you would come across an obstacle in your life and be like, God, I know, I just don't believe in myself at the moment. So reassurance wears off. So the antidote to that, or the way that we do that, is we actually believe in ourselves. We actually begin to love ourselves a little bit.
I really love what Tim had to say in this clip, and I actually really enjoy the interview because he does give you some very tactical frameworks in terms of helping you overcome anxiety, overcoming fear. And I love that he said, that you have to figure out what is giving you that feeling, that fear, that anxiety, whatever it is, and you still have to go do it, right? And it's just kind of like, some of you might have been following me for a little bit of time, but sometimes I am fortunate enough to get interviewed, and people always ask me like how I got started. And in the beginning, I thought the same way, which was I thought I had this huge fear of getting on video. I had this huge fear of creating content, of putting myself out there. And I thought, man, I'm gonna do as much research as I can to figure out how to overcome the fear, right? So that I can get rid of it. I don't want to feel it. It's a little too negative. And I want to feel confident. I want to feel strong, right? And what I found at the end of it is that we don't want to get rid of the fear, right? Actually, the fear helps us feel that we're human, right? And Tim talks about this in the interview, but specifically in this clip, he says you got to go and do it. And I love that he mentioned Seth Godin, because I think it's Seth Godin that has said, you have to learn how to dance with the fear. Right? So you have to learn how to dance with it. And that's what I had to learn, which was I had to learn how to be with overwhelm. I had to learn how to be with anxiety and fear. And I didn't want to overcome those things after a while, because having those benchmarks there always allowed me to kind of figure out, okay, this is my comfort zone now, right? But how can I push it to another level? How can I just push myself just a little bit, right? And so for you guys that are watching these videos, I hope that if you're going through a situation in your life that you're a bit fearful of, or you're a bit anxious of, or you don't exactly know how it's going to play out, like, I think that's really great because you're putting yourself in a stage where you can do something that's going to help you grow. And naturally, if you're doing that, it means that you're doing something new. It means you're broadening your horizons most of the time. And I think that's a really exciting thing. So I hope that was able to help you guys think through anxiety and fear. Don't just try to get rid of it, right? Acknowledge it, appreciate it for showing up, for letting you know that you are about to do some things that you've never done before. You're about to enter into a new chapter of your life or a new area of your life that you've never explored before, which is great, right? Like, I think that's really, really awesome. But don't let that stop you from doing the things that you want to do. Most of the time that people don't achieve any of the things that they want to get to in life, whether it's in business, whether it's in relationships, whether it's in wealth building, wherever area it is, it's usually because they are fearful of the result, and then they'll rationalize back to themselves, essentially, why didn't they go do it, right? And so go do it. Go acknowledge those feelings, right? But this is the cure. Like, the cure is not to get rid of it. The cure is to learn how to dance with all of these things, to be human, to be 100% yourself, to show up almost as if you are showing too much of yourself, right? And Neil Gaiman has this great quote where he says, if you show up as if you're naked and you show too much of yourself, that is the beginning of when you are actually about to get it right. And so I love that. I always think about that when we're always creating things, and I hope this was relevant and valuable to you. So I do have a question of the day. The question of the day is, when was the last time you experienced a little bit of anxiety or fear, and what did you do? So let us know in the comment section below, and I will be in there to answer a bunch of questions and to support you guys in being better leaders, in being change makers. And remember, okay, oh, also subscribe, like, dislike, let us know. Let me know if you want to see me review another interview. Let me know and we will make the video for you. But remember, guys, it's not about changing the world. That's not what being a change maker is. Being a change maker means that you're choosing the right people in your life, right? You're choosing and deciding to change their world. You're being that change maker, and that's what being a great leader means. So I hope to see you guys in the next video, and I can't wait to talk to you then. All right, bye.